Hey, Brave Masters, welcome back to another episode of the Brave Entrepreneur podcast. I'm your host, Jena Rodriguez, and I am so excited to be your brand business and brave strategist, helping entrepreneurs worldwide really tap into their brand clarity, profit enhancement strategies, and ultimately creating a business lifestyle that they love. And so this show is all about giving you the inside information, right? The inside secrets of other entrepreneurs, such as our guest today, Nicole. Hey, Nicole, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for
Welcome.
having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. And I just want people to get kind of like what it really takes to be an entrepreneur. And you and I we were just talking about the crazy brave that we have to continue to maintain. And I'm so excited to have you and just share you with our audience. So I want to say to anyone watching, if this resonates with you today, or if you feel like someone else needs to hear it, we certainly would appreciate any shares and reviews on iTunes, as well as and just your feedback. We want to know you're listening. I see the downloads, but I don't know who's listening. Right? I'm like, somebody
you are.
Yeah. But we're going to keep doing it anyway, because I know it's helping somebody out there. So, hey, Nicole, so tell us a little more about you and your business, please.
Yeah, so I am a business strategist who helps women entrepreneurs, particularly ones who have service-based type one-to-one services, businesses, scale and make more money and profit more through multiple income streams. And I love doing that because I think that there's such a high rate of burnout. My background is that I'm a former therapist and social worker. So I started my business doing one-to-one services, and I quickly realized I'd already burnt out in my 9-to-5 world. So I was like, oh gosh, like this is totally going to happen again. Like I'm just going to get frustrated. There's going to be an income cap, and I don't want that to happen. So I really work with women to help them see where they have money leaks, where they could fit in some new income streams and some new services, and just help them increase their profits so that they could spend a little less time working, in and on their business and have a social life again too.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, I'm right there with you. I think it's so important that we really assess, not only our own business lifestyle, right? Like how are we being in our business, and are we on the brink of breakdown or, burnout or whatever? And then being able to help others, learn from our mistakes or learn from our errors, right? And do it better and differently, and just something that's more efficient and profitable for that matter. So I love that. And I'm a numbers girl. So it's like, I'm creative yet also numbers. And I love that you shared, the money leaks. Like it's huge, I think that.
Yeah, it really is huge. And I think, in the beginning, so many of us we don't have an MBA. We weren't trained to be a business owner. So we're really good at the work we're doing. We're really good at the coaching, or we're really good at the counseling, or, being a lawyer or a writer or a graphic designer, but we're not so great at the business strategy piece of it, and really setting ourselves up for long-term security. So there's an overall focus on the short-term kind of things, and just getting money in the door and each month. But I really do like to work on the long-term piece, which I think, just talking about being brave, I think that, it does require a certain amount of bravery to commit to your business for the long term, and not just focus on, what's in front of you right now, but really be willing to build a solid foundation for the future too.
Yeah, and that's really important, I think, that you just said that, because, it's kind of like there's no plan B for me. I don't know if that's true for you. The business may change. I mean, I was just telling you beforehand, like I've been in this game for entrepreneur for 12 years, but the form of my business and kind of what it looks like has changed a couple times. And so, but I'm like, there's no plan B called, I'm not going back to the corporate world or the job, per se. I'm not saying I never would. It's just like, I don't have a plan for that, right? I have a plan called make the business work. So that long-term sustainable, like what's the bigger vision that's going to pull you forward and keep you in the game, even if you have to kind of change course. So tell us a little bit about your backstory. I mean, you've got an interesting backstory that I know took a lot of, it's like it had a lot of heart And yeah, it's kind of, like you said, it reached a burnout stage. And how did you end up here?
Yeah, so I got my master's in social work at Columbia, and right after college, I went straight into right after grad school, I went straight into the nonprofit world, kind of doing exactly what they had taught me to do in grad school, which was like get a job, counsel people, yes, I was getting my hours so that I could have a private practice one day, which is a business, but you are not at all given any training or support around that in the school of social work. It's like, there, and a lot of people really look down on you if you do talk about wanting to make money or wanting to be profitable. Like they will turn their backs on you if you do. Like they
this
are
is
not
supposed to be a giving world,
exactly,
right? Yeah.
Exactly. Like you're not supposed to want to, make money or profit. Like that's bad.
But don't worry about paying back that master's.
Yeah, let's not even talk about the master's degree. Right. And that was the problem. I was, in New York City working in a nonprofit, working in a school in Harlem, counseling kids and their family members. And, it was really rewarding work, but the bureaucracy of the system just wore me out. And it was so frustrating because it was all about see as many clients as you can. You know what I mean? It's fine for the nonprofits and for the agencies to be focused on quantity and not quality. But when you try to focus on, your quality of life, they don't like that. So it was really a focus not on the person themselves. And I did not like that. And I really was a problem solver there. And let me tell you something. I don't know what kind of background you come from, but a lot of times they don't like problem solvers.
Got it. That's the problem I had.
And it's like, I just want to help people. Why am I like being rebellious? Why are, you know what I mean? And I think I'm just one of those people that like, I tell it as it is and they don't like that, So I just gradually got very discouraged there and I just stuck it out for my hours, knowing that that would give me more flexibility in the future. But finally I was just like, I'm done. Like I'm out, I'm leaving. So I quit and I was just so burnt out at that point in time. I was like, I can't get another job, like I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I hated the monotony of like the same schedule every week. Every Monday is the same. Every Tuesday is the same. And it was like back-to-back clients. And I just felt so stifled. And I was just like, I'm lazy. Like, I don't like to work. So,
at least you're honest. That's awesome.
I was like, something must be wrong. I'm lazy. Like, I'm going to go and I'm going to travel, but I'm going to volunteer because then at least, like, once again, it's not greedy. It's like, I'm doing something good for the world. So, like, that was kind of how I explained it to myself.
Yeah,
my family is not people who go and, like, travel. They're people who they go and they work and they stay at the same job for 100 years and get married and have kids. So, so basically I was like, okay, I'll volunteer. So I left, I went to Venezuela. I did not do much research on that. This was years ago. I don't even know if you could go to Venezuela now.
My husband is Venezuelan and we don't go.
Yeah, like it was a few years ago and I did manage to go, but like there wasn't really many Americans there. There was definitely more Europeans traveling there and there definitely wasn't many solo travelers, but it really is a beautiful country.
It's beautiful.
So gorgeous. And I did have amazing experiences and I did spend the first month volunteering and then the second month traveling. But when I came back, I was just like, oh God, I'm so lazy. Like I can't have a 9 to 5. And I just, I'm a problem solver. So I was like, how do I work my way around that? So I got a part-time job at a nonprofit and it involved some travel and stuff. So that was good. And then I kind of just pieced together other jobs. So I'm guessing, I think it was early signs of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneur early onset entrepreneurship. I love it. But I wasn't aware of it at the time. I still just thought I was lazy and was like avoiding work.
Right, got it. Yes, those were the signs. Yes.
Yeah, totally.
The diagnosis is done. Yeah, I got it. Right.
So, and I do think it requires a bit of bravery. It didn't fit the mold of like everyone else, what I knew what they were doing, people in my family, people, friends, people from grad school, but I just kind of kept doing that. And I still kind of thought I was lazy. And, eventually what happened is I went to open my own private practice and I really loved it, but I ended up liking the business side more. I liked really kind of being strategic. I noticed that the clients I was getting were even interested in just getting ahead in their lives, getting promotions, making more money. And,
Got it.
And I really loved that. And I had added coaching in because I felt it was like more creative and flexible. And because I was starting to see, like, I had, with the therapy practice, I had recreated the 9 to 5 again. You had to be there certain hours. You had to see people to make money. And I just felt really stifled. And I noticed it from the start. So pretty much immediately, I started kind of creating that long-term strategy to have other income streams. And I think, we were kind of talking about this before, is that it really is brave to set up a long-term strategy in your business.
Yeah.
You have to be able to set goals. You have to be able to claim it. And I think there's a lot of mindset blocks and a lot of fear that comes up for people. So they avoid that.
Yeah, I so agree. I think it's like, you've got to be so committed to the big vision, but you got to know what the long-term vision is, and how you get there may change 500 times. Right. And yet it's like, I just realized, it took me a while, but I realized at some point that what I'm really about is freedom. Freedom of location, freedom of choice, freedom of revenue streams, freedom, don't have to do it all in the same bucket, and
exactly
one way, and certainly freedom to do, be able to serve people anywhere and everywhere, meaning the world. Right. And so, with that, it's like, if where, it's kind of, that's the picture, then it's strategic to get there, but it's like along the way, it's crazy brave, as we were talking about. You got to be crazy brave in order to come up against all the hurdles. So what's been one of the biggest brave hurdles that you've had to kind of move through?
I think for me, it's really just being able to do this on my own, I would say. We were talking about, I live outside of New York City. It's an expensive area. And, I think that there are a lot of women, unfortunately, that don't take the risk because they're single and they don't have kind of that backup plan. And, I live in a very expensive area and I don't care. I'm not going to settle for something just because of these other things.
Yeah.
So I think that honestly, just kind of being able to do this on my own, and not to say I don't have a support system or anything like that, but at the end of the day, I don't have a backup income or anything like that. And, I have to get up and I have to do the things, and they're scary sometimes. And it really is just, being in it for a long time and thinking it's going to be easier, and some things get easy, but then you want to go up to a new level and it gets kind of scary all over again, because you got to change the way you do things if you want to grow.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we were talking about that too, and it's the up level brave, right? And what's the next thing for you? What's the next brave?
So I think for me, the next brave is creating different programs. I've been doing a lot of work one-to-one, and I also have a high-level mastermind that I run, which I love, but I'm definitely looking at something else that could serve different people. I think that I get a lot of people who are really scared to invest in themselves and invest in their business, and they come back to me 6 months later and it's almost they're in a crisis mode because it's been another 6 months where nothing's changed, because it's just so hard to change. It's so freaking scary to change things, and you just don't know how. And I think, I really definitely want to create some kind of middle program for people, because I just hate seeing so many people kind of accidentally destroy their businesses because they haven't invested in support or strategy, and they're still kind of living day to day. And it's a grind that way.
Yeah, it is. It's so interesting you say, and you don't know my story, but I know my next level of brave was getting on. I built my business speaking in belly to belly, right? Face to face, and doing my own events and things like that. So it was very offline versus the online strategies, which, you got to put yourself out there even in a bigger way, because you don't know who's looking at you, right? The judgment.
And I'm so glad you say that, because I think it's really true. People think that when you are building this online, that you can have this invisibility.
It's actually
go find you through a Facebook ad, click and buy your services, and you'll never have to actually talk to them.
Or you don't have to be real.
Right. Yeah. And it just doesn't happen that way. Like you still have to put yourself out there. In some ways it's harder. You know, when I had a local business, it was kind of easy. Like there was like a 10-mile square radius where people would come to me. So I knew how to target people, how to like build referral relationships, how to get in front of people, where to speak. You know, when you have a big, wide open internet, it's really almost harder to get in front of people, even though you have access to so many more people.
Yeah, it's so good that you said that, because that's exactly what I went through in the last like 6 months, is making the decision to go bigger online.
Right.
And then I don't know if this was happening to you at all, but it's because it may be happening to someone watching, is that the realization that 1 million people could see what you just said and love it or hate it, or like start hating you, or like the naysayers or any of that, right? So the judgment is there, and I mean, judgment, it can be good or bad, but it's like it's all judgment. And what I'm usually afraid of is like, wow, I really have to deal with possibly some of the hate or the naysayers or right? And just be willing for that to happen in order to serve those people that need me, right? It's like overcome that in order to get to the people that like love you and need you. And like you said, maybe are not totally ready to commit at a super high level, like mastermind or something like that. But they still are ready to invest somewhere, or at least get your training or something like that. And I just remember the first day I did a Facebook Live, I was like, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. And I mean, I'd even been doing the podcast here. I mean, this is not that much different, right? And it was nerve-wracking. This has been 3 years in now. And so it's like, I know it's nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking at the beginning, but I didn't do video at the beginning either. So it was all the next brave, right? It's the next brave thing that you got to do in order to create the next strategy or the next step up. Right. Yeah. So I love that. And I support you. So,
and I think just as entrepreneurs, I think that we're constantly looking for growth. You know, we are pulled towards growth, and we're not comfortable when we're like stale or stagnated or anything like that.
Hopefully not. Right.
And I think that we are pulled towards growth. So, but we want to kind of keep doing what's worked, and it doesn't get you the bigger results unless you show up in a bigger way.
Yeah. If you want to 10x what you did last year and like keep growing, you got to take on a new level of brain. For sure. Yeah. So something you said earlier, it made me wanted to ask the question about your necessity. I say this to my clients a lot about find your necessity, because it's the only thing that's going to wake you up when it really sucks. And when it is like, the world's caving in, or you know, you're getting overwhelmed, or the money's not happening, or whatever. So what would you say is your necessity to get up every day and do this and stay in the game?
You know, I think honestly, I hated the work world. Like I cannot go back. Like that is the one thing that really, when I was in that place and I was switching businesses over, and I'd grown the first business so easily, and then I was trying to grow, you know, like my coaching and online business. I really was like stuck a little bit, because it required me to actually really put myself out there, not just like get myself on a therapist directory and have clients come in. And you know, it really came down to, and I was so afraid of selling, because once again, I had been in a business. And I think that this is why so many businesses struggle to grow from like one-to-one services. You're kind of used to getting things done in a certain way, and it's not the same. Like you have to learn how to market differently. You have to learn how to strategize differently. You have to get in front of a lot more people. And, you know, I really was in that place where I was like, how do I do this? What do I do? You know, I'm stuck. But it's so easy to like want to give up or not want to take those steps. But like all I do is think about working a job again. And I'm like, I will do anything. Just tell me what to do. Like I will do anything.
Yeah. I know we all like, what is the saying where we leave a 9-to-5 job, and 40 hours a week,
right?
Just get an 80-hour
not to work, right?
I'm like, I live and breathe business though. Like I love thinking about it. I love the creativity.
Right, like it's fun for me, exactly. And you know, that's the name of my Facebook group, Entrepreneur Obsessed, because it's like it's fun for us. You know, it's our passion, and we're lucky that it brings in our income too. And I also think there's sometimes judgment of that too. Like if you really love to work, like people judge you, you know?
Yeah. It's like Something's wrong with you.
Work too hard. I hate when people tell me I work too hard.
Yeah.
Like I'm not working too hard. I like my work. It's fun for me. Like leave me alone.
I actually enjoy this. Like this is not torture. The job was torture because like.
And I think like you're really not. This is probably something too you probably notice is like people in your life just don't get it. Like they think you're not working. They think you're hanging out because you enjoy it so much and you're like not complaining.
At home.
You're like you're just on the couch. Like it doesn't matter. So I think that's one thing that's sad. And I do think that's why it's so important. It is so scary. And I think so many people get discouraged because who in your life, nobody in my life is, now I have friends, obviously, once I started doing this, I connected with people, but nobody from my real life is doing this, or doing what we do and like, supporting people and sometimes never seeing our clients in person or whatever. Connecting and then doing an interview like 5 minutes later.
Yes, right. It's back to back all day, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because I think that is part of the crazy brave is that you've got to be willing to be uncomfortable, yet also be kind of the rebellion, right? To all the people that love you, they may not understand you. They may not get why you're obsessed with what you're doing or the freedom obsessed that I am and the work. I mean, I got a few loved ones that are like, you got to stop working so hard. I'm like, I'm not, even if I say I'm tired, that just means, I've accomplished a lot today and I want to go to bed.
Right. Yeah.
or not, but whatever. It's just I think the biggest thing is I have choice around all of it. I get to choose 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for anybody listening to us that connects to that, you're not alone. I'm sure that you felt this way at some time. And I think it's something that like a lot of people don't talk about, Yeah.
Yeah.
But and that's, think, the crazy brave. I think sometimes you just feel crazy.
Sometimes we're just nuts.
Sometimes you just feel crazy.
I love it. And that's okay too. You get some great ideas and crazy.
Exactly.
So this is so much fun. So what would you say is the meaning for you for brave? What does brave mean to you?
I mean, I think brave for me really is just being willing to make your own choices based on what's good for you and not really letting other people's opinions take it over.
Yeah, that's good. I call that being kind of unapologetic, for wanting what you want and being willing to do whatever it takes to have it.
Yeah. And like, despite the judgment and the comments that come from people about, people pay you to do that. Do you really make money doing that?
We should have a whole book full of what people say.
I know. Right? Yeah.
Because that's so good. I mean, I've heard that. I've heard it too. I'm like, even my neighbors are like, I don't know what you do. And I'm like, I get it.
I know. I'm like, how many times are my parents going to ask me what I do? Like, I try to tell them. I know they stalk my Facebook page and website. Like, I don't want to, like, I'm just done explaining it. Like, who cares? Does it really matter?
The people that get it. And
it's funny because like, when you have a job, nobody really cares what you do, right? Like, how many times have you been like, oh, what does your husband do? Oh, I don't really even know. But when you work from home, like, people are desperate to, like, figure it out.
Like, tell me. And I know that's why we have this show. I'm like, let's talk about it because it's, I mean, the best thing about working from home, it's not that home is the thing. Number one, I get to write off part of my house.
Right.
It's a great write-off and no commute. No traffic. Like literally, I have a lease on my car because you can write some of that off too.
Right.
And my miles are totally good because I don't leave my house.
Right. Exactly.
And if I do, it's for business or speaking or, something like that usually. But it's this conversation of like, we are building real businesses. Like there is not this like hobby at home.
Right.
This is our home office and headquarters is just in this building, right?
Right.
And I mean, this is my home office here that we're sitting in, and it's set up just like I would in another office building. But we're ready to make. We're willing to do all of the hats, right? The marketing, the sales, the operations, the accounting, and when whatever we don't have handled, we need to hire out or get a strategist or whatever. And I just think it takes such crazy brave to be able to like be willing to learn it all and to manage it and not be good at it and then like figure it out and stay in the game long enough to get to the result that you want. I think people quit too soon. Or I don't know if you've heard this where people go, well, if it doesn't work in a year, I quit.
Right.
I'm like, that's plan B. I don't have plan Bs. I have not, like, I don't have a quit.
Right. Totally. Like, exactly. That's what happened to me. I was literally like in that middle place. And I was like, I'm outgrowing my first business. Right. And the second one isn't set up and I'm not going back to a job. So like, I just need to make it happen. Like there was no like, oh, let me try this until this happens. Right. Or if that doesn't happen, it was like, nope, I'm going to make this work.
We're going to make it work. And I think that's brave. I actually speak to that. It's like, just say yes and figure it out. And workability, make it work, whatever it is. As Tim Gunn says, right? Make it work. Right. And so back to when you said necessity, there was something I else wanted to just like put a bow around is if you can't figure out what your true driving force why is, like mine's my livelihood. I don't have a backup plan. Like
totally.
Which is, I think you can relate to, but it's what you also said, which I think is really powerful, is what you don't want. Is you don't want to go back to I don't want to go back to a job. So if for those listening, it's like if you can identify what you don't want, that's just as like crazy. Right. Like, I am not going to do that. Then the only choice is to go the other direction and like, make it happen. And sometimes that's part of the necessity that we identify and, will drive us forward. So I love that. And I love that you're number one, just thank you for being transparent about your next brave with you. Right. And there's always something else to step into no matter what, If not, then you're not growing. You're not.
I know.
Right.
I know.
So I love that.
And, I think it's frustrating sometimes. It's exhausting. It's like we do put ourselves out there. And I know I cry to myself sometimes too, like, why? I've gotten so uncomfortable. Isn't that enough?
Aren't I done yet?
It's not sometimes. There's really no long, drawn out explanation. It just does happen. So get support. Get strategy and figure out ways to make it easier on yourself to get through those uncomfortable times in business.
Yeah. There are techniques. I agree. Do you have a technique around like fear or doubt or anxiety or something like that? Like
so I mean, not just like fear. I'm like someone who, it's so funny because I'm a previous therapist, but to be quite honest, getting grounded in like logistical things and real life strategy and tasks helps me because it kind of brings me out of my head and brings me back into reality. Yeah. So what I do honestly is like, I like security. And like I said, just being a single business owner, I don't have it. And most business owners don't always have any backup or any other security options. So I just kind of try to do what I can do to make my business more secure. So I work sort of from a strong foundational place of really setting up security for myself in the beginning of the year. So I go out there and I batch like sort of all my sales and I like get through it. I launch a lot of programs. I get a lot of income booked out. And it's not like it's like all received, some of it's coming, but I want to know that I'm going to have a certain amount of income over the year, no matter what. So like, I really just set that intention and I stay very, very, very focused on that. So that way I don't have to keep doing it. Like I don't have to keep doing it every month.
Yeah, recreating the same thing. Yeah,
exactly.
I love that. I totally get that, and I think that's really smart. And it's strategic. And something you said, it's almost like if we can find ways to, I like action for me, like annihilates fear or like it can't hold the same space in my head. Right. For me, it doesn't hold the same space. Yeah. If you are in this moment and you're sitting at your desk in fear and emotions and like freaking out, then just go take an action. Like just go.
Exactly. I mean, that's literally what I did. I was like sitting in fear. This was honestly like, in the early days of Netflix, and I would just binge Netflix and I would just like be like, I'm just going to avoid life. Like I don't have that much work right now. It's like, how is this helpful? Like, this is not helpful. So it wasn't self-care. It was pure avoidance and like terror. So finally I was like, if I could spend 8 hours watching Netflix all day, like I could spend 8 hours like pitching myself or building relationships with referral sources or actually doing work.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. I do binge on Netflix occasionally, but it is
I do too.
After the work's done and making sure it's not about avoidance.
Making it a reward.
Yes, it is the like, don't think about anything else for the moment. But I think you made a good point, and what might be really helpful for people right now is to call yourself on any BS that's really going on about how you're spending your time and how you're making like, I don't have enough time as this excuse. Or I don't have, a space in my calendar because of all these other people's, expectations of me or whatever it is. I just feel like sometimes we really have to look at our choices about how we hold things and how we look at our calendar or look at our like 8 hours in Netflix. You could have been, right? You're like building a program to sell, whatever.
I will full out admit it. Like it was no joke. Like I was like just binging Dawson's Creek or something like for the second time probably. Not even,
exactly.
But I do think like you do have to be really real with yourself. And then the other thing is you've got to cut out the BS activities. You've got to cut out the stuff. Like stop the going in Facebook groups and researching and reading, I'm doing a challenge right now. I'm hosting it. And someone was like, well, I'm really learning a lot in them. And I'm like, yeah, but like
are you implementing?
You're not. And, I think you have to be real about these stats and say like, how is this contributing to my business right now?
Yeah, I think that's good because I'm a learner. Like I'm a knowledge seeker. I love like researching and figuring things out. But there's a point where it's like, okay, go get a little information, but then get back to work, get back to like what the actions and tasks are leading you to where you want to go.
I would say like, thank God I'm lazy. I don't want to figure anything out. Just do it for me.
I know I've gotten better at that. Like delegate.
Yeah, it totally has backfired in my favor.
I love that. You're like, I don't want to do it. So somebody else go.
I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to figure it out. Just do it for me, And I think honestly, that's really why I was able to grow my business so quick in the beginning is that, I didn't want the struggle. I was too lazy for the struggle. I was too lazy for the research. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I got to hire someone and I just have to have them tell me what to do and I'll do it.
That's awesome. I just need this amount. Like, I just need to go.
There's something for it to say for investing in yourself and investing in accountability.
Yeah, I love it. So good. I think amazing advice and little nuggets along the way here. And I just wish we could keep going. So in the meantime, what would be the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, well, I would actually love for them. I know we were just talking about batching to go and grab my Batch Like a Boss guide. It's at NicoleLiloia.com/batchlikeaboss.
Okay.
And I actually list things for you to do in your business. And it really helps to do those tasks, lump them together, get through them. You start to get confident. Even the scary stuff like making pitches or outreaching or, pitching to be on podcasts. Like I like to do it a lot at one time and just get
me too.
and really get big results and get those big results and get that positive feedback, positive reinforcement and start to see yourself get some shifts rather than kind of having this to-do list of a million tasks that don't even matter.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we'll make sure we put that list or that link in the show notes because I'm going to check it out myself. Like, I'm always curious about my guest, offer.
Yeah, totally. So they can
awesome.
find that. And then, of course, I spend a lot of time on Instagram showing the behind the scenes of my business.
Yeah.
And it's just my name, Nicole Liloia. So I'm happy to connect with anyone. I hope that this has resonated with them.
Yeah, me too. I think it has. I think it will help absolutely someone out there. And if you are listening and it has helped, please tell us because we don't know otherwise, right? Share it, feedback, give a review, something like that, so we can all keep our brave on and keep doing this for you. So Nicole, I have one final question that I love asking of my guests is if this was your last interview, like no more opportunity to speak or share a message or stand up on a stage or anything like that, what would be the thing that you want everyone to know?
Well, first I'd break open the Apothic wine. That's a first. Because honestly, I'm going to celebrate my last message.
Let's get real.
But I would say, you know, just be consistent. Don't give up. Just keep taking actions. If things don't happen on the first try.
Yeah.
If it hasn't happened for you on the first try, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or anything wrong with what you're trying. Keep doing it. Sometimes it takes 100 times.
Yeah, sometimes it takes, And you know, I always have this visual of this cartoon. I don't know where I saw it, but it's like this guy that is chipping away in the mine and he's like with his chipper, whatever it's called. And he can't see that on the other side of like one more chip is the diamonds and gold and all that. And he turns around and goes back.
Yeah.
Or he gets out of there. And it's like, 5 minutes before the miracle, you know? And, so just keep going.
Yeah. Stay consistent. That's the bravest thing of all is staying consistent. And
I love that.
And frequent. Big stuff, you know, it's just it's really being consistent.
I love that. Staying in the game, always playing. Keep playing. I love it. Thank you. I love you, Nicole. This has been amazing. I'm so blessed to have met you and connect with you.
So much fun.
This is great. Yes, I love it. And so thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone watching and listening. I do appreciate you. I don't take it lightly. I know you have lots of choices out there in podcast world and YouTube and all of the above and all the videos that jump on our news feeds. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to listen into both of our conversation. And again, please let us know what your thoughts are and what difference this has made for you. And until the next episode, let's go get our brave on. See you then.